What's up guys, Chris here from Vo-Gus Prospecting. If you're new to the channel, a big warm welcome, and if an old moldy hat like this one, welcome back. Today I'm running an experiment. Can I make a regular gold pan faster than a river sluice? This is a question I get asked all the time on my channel, because when you're classifying down a bucket of dirt to run through your river sluice, it often feels like you could just use a regular gold pan much quicker. And there is a method and technique that will exponentially expand your speed at processing dirt. But before I show you me using my gear to do this panning technique, there is a link above to Ori's channel. He's already used one of these methods. It's a little bit slower than the one I'm going to show you today, but it's exactly the same principle, so check that one out. I've been walking upstream all morning just taking some samples out, and I finally came to this spot here. Now what really struck me about this spot was we have bedrock just here. It was sticking right out in the middle of the creek, and I thought straight away, if I come over to here, we know that we're not going to have to dig too far down to get to bedrock. I only took the surface off. I haven't actually reached that rock yet, and this is the pan that I got. Now that is a really respectable test pan. I'm very, very happy with that. And just look at the lead that came out in one pan. I mean, that's a lot of shotgun pellets, so there could be something really good on the bedrock itself. Beyond that, this spot actually gives me enough soil to work to run this test. How are we going to do this test? Now the concept for this video has been on my mind for a little while, but it was reinforced when I did the Gold Hog Flow Pan review. That pan says that it's meant to increase your efficiency so you can process dirt. And the whole time I was using it, I was thinking, you can just do this with a regular pan. You don't need to spend 150 Australian dollars and $100 on shipping to get the same results. To find out if a river sluice or a pan is more efficient, I'm first going to classify down a bucket, set my river sluice up, and feed it with my spade and time the whole thing to see how long it takes to do that. The other thing we're going to take note of is how many classified pans does it take to fill that bucket. Because what I'm then going to do is take my gold pan and show you this technique and replicate how many pans it took to fill that bucket. So if it takes 10 level classified pans to fill that bucket, I will then do 10 level classified pans with my regular pan and compare the times to see the efficiency rate. And then of course we're going to run a loss test, because if we've gained efficiency, like I said in the Gold Hog video, there's a good chance that we've lost accuracy, and that's important. And by comparing the losses and the times, we'll have a good idea of if we can make a pan faster than a sluice. Right, strap your undies on, let's get going. First of all, this is not about how much gold we get, because that would be to do with finding gold. This is about the efficiency and the usability of your equipment. I have done my best to take the average. I could use a better classifier, such as an arbor fabricating classifier. That would increase my efficiency when it comes to this sort of thing. However, that is an expensive piece of equipment, and the vast majority of prospectors that I meet out there have the standard classifiers from the Garrett and Minelab kits, as well as those steel ones. This puts me in the median. I could also be using a multitude of different river sluices, sizes, feed rates, water flow types, but I'm using a really simple and very basic 6-inch river sluice from Gold Rat using Dream matting. At only $100, it does fit within the price point that most prospectors that I know can afford. Beyond that, it's an idiot-proof sluice. Whilst you have to classify down the material, the feed rate that you can give it is a little bit more forgiving. If you overfeed some of the other sluices, such as riffle bar sluices or even the Gold Hog matting, you will blow gold out. With the Dream mat, you get a little bit more leeway with feed rate, so my efficiency there goes up. So whilst my classifier is isn't the most efficient classifier that I could be using, my sluice certainly is. And that's an important distinction because that helps, again, balance it out to be about the median. And the last thing that most people forget to talk about outside of their efficiency is the thing that's actually using the tools, the soft fleshy human on the other end of the shovel. Now, I am relatively fit and I'm relatively young, making me a pretty good average for what I see out on the fields. In fact, my analytics say that most people that watch my channel are my age. As soon as I hit that stopwatch go button, I am not going to change the camera angle so you can see the whole bucket get classified in one hit. Then at the end of it, we're going to stop it, reset it, and then run the river sluice and add those 2 times together. Here's that stopwatch. We're going to hit start, and then we're going to get cracker lacking. Okay, stopping the watch. And we've got 4 minutes and 38 seconds in total processing time to just classify that bucket. I did that as quickly and as accurately as I could. We got 4 pans to fill that bucket with 2 shovels in every single pan, which is what I'll be replicating with my regular gold pan right after I run that bucket. We're going to set the sluice up and time how long it takes to actually process that dirt down the river sluice. Now, an important note when I get to the gold panning stages, I'm not going to be finishing. The important part here is processing power. When you run a river sluice, you don't finish till the end of the day, and we're going to do the same thing with the pan. Our previous time was 4 minutes and 38 seconds to classify that bucket. We're going to hit reset, and then we're going to see how long it takes us to actually process it. Start. Stopping the clock, 5 minutes and 48 seconds it took to process that bucket. That means to classify and run one 10-litre bucket of pay dirt took me 10 minutes and 26 seconds. Now the part you've all been waiting for. Can I use this to be more efficient than 10 minutes and 26 seconds at doing 4 full pans? That's a really annoying fly on my forehead. First, I want to explain and show the technique to you so you understand what I'm doing. In this pan, I have 2 unclassified shovels of dirt, the same that went into the classifier when we did the sluice run. Now, the normal process of panning is super slow because it's about accuracy. You want to use your pan to test for spots. So you need an accurate idea of how much gold is in the ground, and that's why it takes time. Panning happens in basically 3 stages. The first stage is liberation. Liberation happens from the second you start digging, where you take the dirt out of the creek. Then the process of actually washing your pan, putting your hands in and massaging the clay and whatnot, breaks up the dirt clumps and washes the rocks. That liberates the gold from the soil. It's now an individual particle floating around in the pan itself. No matter how you gold prospect, the next stage is stratification. Unless you're a detectorist, then you don't need this. Stratifying is the process of sinking materials based on their weight to different levels in your pan. You do this by agitating the soil, shaking side to side, moving it around and round. and that allows you to do the last stage, which is reduction. Traditionally, this is being done by washing. That's exactly how a sluice reduces it. You wash the dirt and it stratifies the material into capture zones. With a pan, it works in the same exact way, except we do it manually. We have to use the water to come and wash the dirt off the top, and we have to continually repeat the process of stratification and reduction until we're left with the concentrates in the bottom of our pan. I'm a fast panner. I can get through a pan like that in about a minute washing, but I can reduce that even more by using this trick. Instead of water, I'm going to use my hand. So here's that process in full. We've liberated the soil. We're going to put it under the water and use our hands to massage and break up all of that clay. Same process you would do if you were going to wash this pan normally. Alright, that feels pretty good. Now we're going to stratify it. We're going to twist it around and around and around, and we're going to do this for a couple of seconds. What that does is it's brought all the large rocks to the very top, and I can simply push them out. Now you could use a classifier, but that'll slow you down. Once we push all those rocks out, we put it back in. Usually you'll have to give it a little bit more of a scrub because the clay will settle and whatnot. And that traps gold. Once again, we stratify. Now, it's important that we keep the pan completely level. We don't care about the riffles in this instance. They're not really that important using this technique. We've stratified. Theoretically, all the gold's on the bottom. So what we're going to do is use our hand and we're going to push off the top inch of dirt out of our pan. As we get down, it's going to get harder and harder to scrape it if you keep the pan level. That's when we're going to start tilting it. So you can see I'm tilting the pan forward, and same deal, I'm going to take off the top inch of soil, but I'm not going to take it from the very back edge. The very back edge is where there could be gold hiding, so we never want to touch that. Hand on the soil, under the water, push that top inch off, re-stratify, push the top inch off. Now once you get down to this stage, here is something that most people never talk about. When you get down to this level of dirt, you could reveal it and suck up the gold, but that wastes time because while you're on the creek, you can dig pay dirt. When you're at home, you can't dig new pay dirt. So save your cleanup for home. That will give you more time in the creek to dig more gold. So what you do with this is you throw it into a bucket or a spare pan to take home. And just in case you're wondering if there is gold, let's find out. That's the gold we got out of that pan, just there. Alright, here we go. We're going to hit that reset button and we're going to just start digging. 2 shovels per pan for 4 pans and see how long it takes. Alright, that's it. That's what we're left with after 4 pans. And it took, 7 minutes, 24 seconds. So we just did the same amount of dirt 30% faster. Now I don't know about you, but 33% more efficiency is really good. And honestly, that is no harder than classifying down those pans into the bucket to feed the sluice. There is something to be said, however, for the fun and enjoyment you get out of running a river sluice. I mean, it is a bucket load of fun feeding a sluice and seeing the gold appear. And there's nothing wrong with doing that if you want to do it as a bit of fun. But if we're just talking about efficiency and numbers, that panning method is far quicker. But does it lose any gold? That's the gold we got out of those 4 speed pans, and that's pretty good. You can see it has absolutely no problem in holding those fine particles doing that method. The loss test is super simple. I'm going to sink one of these pans in underneath my panning pool, and I'm going to put all the dirt I push out of the pan into it, and we'll carefully pan it off and see what kind of dirt escaped in our method. that's our concentrates brought down to about the same point as what we did with those tests. Everything else is in this pan. So let's just see how much gold is in here, and then we'll find out how much gold is in here. A lot of these pieces are super fine. That's about the biggest bit in there. So we've got 1, and then I'll try and count these out for you up the top. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pieces that I can see. I said the light, it's super fine stuff. It's really fine. So we've got 15 in this pan. All right, now for this one. Wash all the rocks real slow. We'll pan it down normally. All right, we got gold, but not very much. I do not know if you're going to be able to make out the one dot that I've got right there. It's absolutely tiny, and the only other piece we've got is just there. So we've got 2 dots. That's a nano dot, and that's a dot. It's not quite a speck just yet. So that is a 6.6% loss rate, which is more than the 5% that I wanted. However, I think it's because of the clay and the fact that I didn't spend enough time liberating that dirt. Exactly what I spoke about right at the very start. So if I'd spent 10% more time making sure that those rocks are clean, which is what I should have done, given that there was a little bit of clay on pretty much all of those large rocks, which is where my hunch the gold probably came from, I'd still be 20% faster, and I wouldn't have had that 6.6% loss rate. I probably would have had a little bit less. I really wish I could stay out here longer, but that heat's going to get bad. The snakes are going to come out, and that's exactly why I haven't got Grizzly with me today, trying to keep him safe, because I know if I introduced him into a danger noodle situation, things can go pear-shaped quickly. So thank you so much for watching my technique video. I will show you all the gold that I get for today using this tip and trick right in this spot after I say goodbye. Until next time, give your dog a scratch for me. Peace, and I am out. Look at that. That is not bad for panning.